All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. So I was doing some research on something and I came across this article, and there's several articles on this. So you guys see this site, and this information was posted up on October 24th, 2014. So they probably did it like 50, 60 years after the incident or close to it. So basically, I'll leave a link to this, and there's a couple of sites I'm going to show you guys. This is pretty interesting. It's basically saying 60 years ago, a football match ground to a halt when unidentified flying objects, meaning more than one, of course, were spotted above a stadium in Florence. And they go on to kind of just speculate that aliens come to Earth. If not, what were they? But there's several testimonies on this. But if you read this article, it goes through and it talks about how these fans were watching this football game, and all of a sudden these craft just stopped over the stadium. Now, there were no pictures of this, so I don't know why there weren't any photos of this. It does have a newspaper article, but of course it's in a different language and I couldn't translate this at all. But they do say down here at the bottom, the lower headline, the sightings over Florence with a photograph now lost of the UFO. So this is probably what they're talking about. But if you look at this one looks somewhat dish-shaped, and I can't translate this. So if you guys can translate this, I don't have enough time to do it, but this is probably not talking about this craft here. But that's not cigar shape as some of the witnesses talked about. But remember, there was more than one object here with this. But it goes on to talk a little bit about this. But there's another site I'm going to actually put down in the description below too. And this site here says the day UFOs hovered basically over this stadium. I'm going to butcher these names, so that's why I'm not really trying to pronounce them too much. But these are some of the people that were still alive at the time that this article was written and put on this website, and they gave their testimony to it. And what makes this more interesting, there's going to be ads popping up everywhere. It says a crowd of 10,000 gathered to watch a game. And the same thing some of the other sites have said too, but some of their testimonies like this, I remember seeing this incredible sight. They were moving very fast and then they just stopped. So we've known that UFOs can move fast and they just all of a sudden stop and then they shoot off somewhere. And it says it lasted a couple of minutes. So they probably didn't have time to take photos except for the one photo I showed you in the previous article. But he says, I would like to describe them as being like Cuban cigars. They just reminded me of Cuban cigars and the way they looked. And we've known that in the 50s and 60s and possibly early 70s, there were a lot of cigar-shaped UFOs that people saw and reported on. And I mentioned before that there was a movie called Above Majestic that talked about some of the cigar-shaped UFOs that people saw were probably submarines that were constructed to do interstellar travel and stuff. And that's just the theory. We don't have anything to prove that, but I don't know. I personally wouldn't put that past what our government can do out there. And then here's another one. It says Bonnie has spent many years reliving that day in his mind. I think they were extraterrestrial. That's what I believe, and there's no other explanation I can give myself. And it goes in to talk about other people. It says, I remember everything from A to Z. While we were playing the match, everything came to a stop because everybody was looking up at the sky. It was something that looked like an egg. Now, this person says it looks like an egg was moving slowly. So egg or cigar shape. It just, I guess, depends on maybe the angle too, because we do know that I've put videos up about some of these UFOs that can morph and ship shape. They can come down saucer shape and they can do all kinds of things. We don't know the characteristics of these, so it could have been a mixture of egg-shaped UFOs, cigar-shaped UFOs, and saucer-shaped UFOs. But it goes on to say we were astonished. We had never seen anything like it before. We were absolutely shocked for the moment we saw it. So they saw this for a few minutes, and then these craft just disappeared or just shot back off into the sky. And then there's other testimonies. Someone said I was so curious, and I was also so happy because in those years, everybody was talking about aliens. Everybody was talking about UFOs. We had the experience. We saw them directly for real. So it's kind of like what's going on today. Everybody's starting to have this UFO experience and talking about these, and I think we're going to see a lot more of these coming out maybe over the next year or two, especially with a lot of things going on with the government and stuff. And then there's one other article here, and this is just an artist rendering what the people saw there. Now these do look saucer eggish shape if you look at it really closely, which is interesting. Like I said, this is interesting, and I didn't know if you guys had heard about this, but I wanted to bring this to your attention. They said it's one of the biggest UAP sightings in Italian history, which is probably one of the biggest UFO sightings probably in history in general, with over 10,000 people saw these craft. And I just wish somebody had a photo. And I'm pretty sure there's a photo out there or two somewhere. I just could not find it. And that's also why I'm bringing this video and telling you guys about this, because some of you guys may have heard about this, or there may be some lost photos out there on a site somewhere, or someplace on a forum or something that someone may have about this incident. But I definitely wanted to bring this to you guys' attention, because I thought this was pretty interesting. We see this here. These do look more of a eggish oval shape than they do saucer shape. So what could be egg shaped to someone like myself could be kind of a cigar shape to someone else. But anywho, this is something interesting, something we can add to our archives. If you guys have heard anything about this, like I said, I'll put links in the description below, because this talks about a lot of things in here and other things with it. So even there's a witness here. This person was 10 years old when he talked about this, and he said the only problem is after a short period of time it disintegrates. I remember in broad daylight seeing the roofs of the houses in Florence covered with the white substance for an hour like snow. It just evaporated. I've never heard about that, if a UFO or craft flew or something, and something like that leaves some kind of residue, or at least something on the buildings and stuff like that. So it makes me kind of wonder what was really going on and what these people saw. I'm not saying they didn't see something that was extraterrestrial, but regardless, this is something that I've never heard of, and I wanted to bring this to you guys. So put your comments down below of what you think about this, because this is a pretty interesting article, and this is a pretty interesting UFO sighting, and I think this is probably one of the biggest ones. If tens of thousands of people saw this, I'm just trying to find more news articles on this. So if I can find some more information, I'll definitely do an update video, because if someone has some type of photo or something, or a newspaper clipping, that would be excellent to show. So anyway, guys, put your comments down below, the like, subscribe, and I'll see you this weekend for a couple of videos I'll post out. Appreciate you watching.